Tim, and welcome to the usage, care, and maintenance of your Bell & Ross vintage BR-V2-92 Steel Heritage. Now, if you're a veteran collector, some of this may be old hat to you, so you can feel free to skip forward to the portion of the video and the specific instruction that concerns you immediately. For all others, I'm going to take you from start to finish regarding usage, care, and maintenance of this timepiece. Now, it is an automatic winding timepiece, and you can see via the caseback winding mass, the watch does energize itself. But should you wish to manually wind the watch, for example, if it should stop, or if you wish to top it off, thread the crown counterclockwise until you feel and hear it pop, spring-loaded out of its stem tube assembly. Now, in this first position, which we'll call flush or first position, you turn 25 to 35 turns in a clockwise direction, and you will see the seconds hand begin to advance once the watch is beating. At this point, you can set the date, set the time, put the watch on your wrist, and return the crown to its snug position against the stem tube, and it will automatically wind itself. But if you wish to completely wind the watch up to its maximum rated power reserve of 38 hours, simply continue turning in a clockwise direction. 45 turns will be sufficient to fully wind the watch, but if you want to listen, you'll hear a subtle tick or click as the bridle-style mainspring slips inside the barrel to relieve excess strain. This is by design. You cannot accidentally overwind this watch. If you want the rule of thumb, 45 turns. If you want to be strict about it, listen for the click. Now, the timepiece can be set by pulling the crown out completely 2 detents from the winding position. You'll note that the seconds hand stops. This is called hacking or stop seconds. The best way to use hacking or stop seconds is to wait for the seconds hand to reach the index at 12, then find an accurate reference time, such as an online atomic clock, and set your watch to the correct hour and the next nearest minute. This will allow you to wait until the reference catches up to the exact hour, minute, and second you've set, and then you push the crown back in, the watch resumes beating, you've now synchronized your reference time. Note that I have set the watch to 6. I'm going to demonstrate the use of the quick set function for the date, but first I want to remind you that from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. you should never attempt to use the quick set function for your date, because as you just saw, that is the period, the 6-hour period, when the watch's automatic date jumper is engaged. So if you're not sure where you are in the 24-hour cycle, for instance, if the watch has been sitting, always advance past the date change and then set the watch to 6 a.m. At that point, you can pull the crown out to its intermediate position between winding and setting, and then you can turn in a counterclockwise direction to rapidly set the date. Remember, never between 9 p.m. and 3 a.m. That's the no-go zone for using the date quick set. Once you're done, simply apply pressure and thread the crown back into its stem tube assembly. You'll find that it eventually cinches against the case and it sits flush. This is important for ensuring the watch meets its rated water resistance, but also to protect the crown from impact and shearing. The timepiece features a bidirectional rotating vintage style bezel, so this is not a dive watch. It doesn't have a unidirectional bezel, but what it does have is a bezel that can be used as a timing reference in the fashion of 1950s or 1960s sports watches, compared against the baton minute hand or the broad sword style hour hand. And depending on what kind of interval you wish to measure, it could even be 1 minute. You line up the index with the hand in question, and then you follow it around the radial scale. This is a convenient timing reference that in many respects can supplant a conventional chronograph and be read with far greater ease than a small chronograph minutes register. There are 3 primary areas of handling that need to be taken into consideration when using your watch: water resistance, magnetism, and shock. We'll start with water resistance, since the consequences of water intrusion are severe. First, keep in mind this watch is 100 meters water resistant, which is sufficient for aquatic activities such as swimming, but it is not a professional dive watch. Bell & Ross has those in the collection should you be interested. It's also important to remember that though this is a swimmable watch, you can help avoid accidental drowning by keeping the crown flush to the case, never thread it out, never attempt to use its functions while the watch is either submerged or even wet, as attempting to use the crown when there's water on its surround can bypass the case seals and introduce water to the interior of the timepiece. Always keep the crown flush when there's water on the watch. It's also important to remember that water resistance, unlike mechanical specifications, does not represent a static feature of your watch. In time, as seals age and lubricants degrade, water resistance will ebb. Therefore, it's important, per Bell & Ross, to have your watch dry water tested at an authorized service center at minimum every 24 months. This is also a good time to have the physical condition of the watch, the condition of the strap, as well as the chronometric precision, the health of the movement checked. It's also important to remember that you use your watch in corrosive water chemistries such as high chlorine or salt, that it's important to wash with fresh water after usage and exposure. Magnetism is ubiquitous but unseen. You'll find it in powerful standing magnets such as speakers, subwoofers, the closures of wallets and purses or refrigerator doors. Powerful electric magnets such as personal devices or high-powered wiring looms in the home and office can create electromagnetic flux. The result of magnetism is always the same. It affects the ferrous hairspring at the center of your watch's balance, its beating heart. Now, it'll cause erratic running that may be slow or fast, but if you suspect your watch has become magnetized, take it to a Bell & Ross authorized service center where specialized equipment is available to quickly and easily demagnetize your watch. The third primary hazard, concussion or shock, needs to be taken into account because many concussive activities can damage a fine mechanical movement. Mountain biking and ATV riding, batting, tennis, golf, or firearms marksmanship should be avoided while wearing the watch. Simply take the watch off prior to engaging in these activities. It's also important to remember that even a well-cared-for watch will eventually require a comprehensive overhaul per Bell & Ross every 3 to 5 years. Service exclusively with Bell & Ross authorized service centers or the factory itself, as these agencies solely have the trained personnel, specialized tools, and original Bell & Ross replacement parts to protect the value of your watch as both an instrument and as an investment. You'll also note that this is a comprehensive spa treatment for your timepiece that'll involve replacement of a warm strap, cosmetic refinishing, restoration of water resistance, disassembly, cleaning, oiling, reassembly, and adjustment of the movement itself. It's also important to remember that only authorized service centers, as well as the Bell & Ross factory, are authorized to back all work and parts invested with an original factory service warranty. To learn more about the proper usage, care, and maintenance of this and the entire collection of Bell & Ross timepieces, visit our website at govbergwatches.com and call, text, or email our experts who will be more than happy to walk you through the entire ownership process.